Bulls Radio Lounge. It has been a long time. This is Belly doing a pre-recorded episode of Gut Check Live. So it's Bully Sans Bull. I'm going to apologize in advance for any kind of technical issues. I'm kind of running a primitive setup here. Using the good old smartphone and the work laptop. So thank you for your patience if there's any kind of technical kind of issues going on. We were planning on doing a show yesterday, but it's a holiday weekend, stuff comes up. So unfortunately we're unable to do so, but I got a little bit of a break in the schedule, so I wanted to record something to give you guys a little bit of content, especially since it's been so long since I've been on the air with Bull live. I've done some guest spots with Bull at the Bull and the Bartender show. I recorded some stuff, like some little clips, like some Belly's thoughts or reactions to certain stuff, and Bull's uploaded it. But I wanted to bring a full episode, or as much of a full episode as possible, to you, because I know it's been a while. It's been at least 6 to 8 weeks or so since Bull, had to go get some stuff handled, and now he's back, and things just haven't lined up. We both have our own lives, and everyone on the station has their own lives. So I wanted to take some time out to record for you guys and be able to actually upload it, because I'll be off of Facebook jail in T-minus 2 hours again. This is my second 30-day sentence. And I didn't even say anything towards anyone. I made a blanket statement on my own page, or it might have been a blanket comment on a news story, and someone reported it. And I guess since I have so many strikes against me, Facebook went hiya and just took me out of commission for 30 days, which is fine. I got other stuff I can do instead of sitting on social media and on Facebook and arguing with dumb people. But speaking of arguing, that's a good segue into what actually happened a couple weeks ago on the Bull and the Bartender show. I actually did a guest spot because Mark was unavailable. So me and Bull hosted, and I was in the second chair. And we kind of got into it about COVID a little bit. I think we were talking a little bit past each other. I'm not going to speak for Bull since Bull's not here. Just going to give you a breakdown of what happened. Play a clip to give you guys a refresher. Hopefully the audio is good on it for you guys. If not, I apologize. If you hear clicking, that's just me clicking the mouse. I don't have a board or the pro setup like Bull does. So apologies in advance again, everyone. And I know before we get started, I do want to talk about the Boozy Pig. I know Bull's been hitting up the Boozy Pig quite a bit, and he's been talking it up. Not a paid advertisement at all for the show. It's just a high-quality product, the local business that we like to promote. We like to promote small businesses. So let's talk some meat. Specifically, we're going to talk about the Boozy Pig. It's located on 3255 West Cypress Street in Tampa. The Boozy Pig is a whole animal butchery / kitchen with locally sourced proteins directly from Florida farmers, ranchers, and fishermen. Locally farmed, ranched, if that's a word, and fished products from our own area right to your plate. It's open for breakfast and lunch. The Boozy's Pig sure to have a cut of meat that surely satisfy your desires to delectable, tender, juicy meat. Juicy meat. Who doesn't love juicy meat? That's what she said. Don't forget to check out what I'm calling the Meat Locker, their vending machine of protein-laced meat goodies outside of the storefront. So they have a vending machine with your meat of choice. You can get sausage, you can grab a steak, burgers, some wine and cheese infused sausage, some specialty sausage that's infused with wine and cheese for your next cookout. Hey, today is a possible cookout day for you. Sitting by the pool here in hot Florida, go run by the Boozy Pig on 3255 Cypress Street. Put a couple bucks in the vending machine, get yourself some wine and cheese infused sausage, throw it on a grill, talk with your friends and family, be safe in this COVID related time, and try out some Boozy Pig product. It's all about the Boozy Pig. Follow them on Instagram. Just search the Boozy Pig. That is BOOZY Pig, the Boozy Pig, where your cravings are satisfied. So again, 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I can't remember, times melding. I joined Bull on the Bull and the Bartender show. We got a little bit heated about COVID, more specifically about Ron DeSantis at the time. He put in an executive order to ban mask mandates in schools. Bull and I have two different positions on it. And I believe in the heat of the moment, we were talking past each other. I'll play a clip. It kind of gives you an example of that where we're not really on the same page talking about the same stuff. I'll play the clip for a little bit and then I'll give my breakdown on it. Again, I'm not going to speak for Bull. I'm just going to give my interpretation. Bull can respond to this, or the next time that we're on the ad, or on the air, we will talk about it. So here's a short clip from that show, and then we'll talk about it a little bit.
How to run your deal, okay? I can't sit there and tell you to send your kid to school with or without a mask. That's not my deal. Just like I can't tell Joe Blow down the street that he's talking to me in the neighborhood to wear his mask. That's not my deal. My deal is to protect my kid at that particular time. I don't give a fuck about
three classmates next to him are not wearing.
Okay, so what? Who gives a fuck about them? Okay, that's not my deal.
They are affecting your kid.
Yes, but if I'm taking the necessary but if I'm taking the necessary steps, like for example, if they're 12 and older and they get the shot, I'm protecting them by getting the shot. Okay, if they're going to school with a mask, I'm protecting them with a mask. Now, that other percentage, you just can't help. Okay, having said that, to say this again, you are the parent, just like anybody else with their kids. They are the parents of their kids. They are making a conscious decision to send their kid wherever they're sending them to, okay? And they know what's going on. They know what's happening. They know regardless of who gives a fuck about what DeSantis says, they know what's happening.
You're not getting it.
I think
don't know how we're going to get forward on the conversation.
But I'm saying I think that you're putting too much political mumbo
I'm
jumbo
not.
in a decision that you need to make as a parent.
No, I'm not at all.
So what you're telling me is that regardless of your child's safety, you would still consider DeSantis' opinions on whatever facts that he has. That doesn't make sense.
He wrote an executive order saying that let's say Hillsborough County Schools is a hot spot and people are getting it left and right. He is saying that Hillsborough County Schools cannot issue a mask mandate, to where if they have recommendations from health professionals, which they do from the CDC, they have it from the Federal Department of Education, and they have it from the American Association of Pediatrics, saying everyone should be wearing a mask at schools this year, faculty, staff, janitors, lunch ladies, all students, everyone should be wearing a mask. And he's saying, I'm going to write this executive order that says, no, you cannot do that. And if you do, there's threatening of pulling your funding from you, which also will affect the children's education as well.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Would you rather give a fuck about what DeSantis says, or would you rather give a crap about the safety of your kids?
I care about the safety of my kids.
Okay, so you know what? But who cares about DeSantis?
I care because you're not listening and you're not.
I'm listening, and all I'm hearing is what these little policies that these guys are making because they're politicians. Okay?
No, because you're not looking at what the actual policy is. The policy is you can't have a mask mandate, or I'm going to pull your funding. So I care about my safety, my children's safety, and I care about the other children's safety, and I care about the janitor's safety, and DeSantis' policy is affecting that safety negatively.
Okay, but
because we can't do everything that we can do to protect people.
Okay, but then there again, okay, they're not. What you just said was they're not putting the policy. Everybody has to wear a mask, right?
He is given the choice, and he is given the option. There is no option now. He has eliminated that option.
So what you're saying is you don't have a choice to wear a mask or not to wear a mask.
people have the choice to wear a mask.
Okay, so then what's the problem?
Jesus
then?
fucking Christ, Bull, you're not listening.
I am, but what is the problem? If he gives you the choice,
you're gonna have selfish, dumb fucks that send their kids to school without a mask and with sniffles, and it's gonna end up being COVID. And since they're not having the mask, they're gonna infect everyone around them, and the school's gonna have a fucking outbreak. Since DeSantis took away the option for Hillsborough County schools or any school district to say, hey, everyone's got to wear a mask per the scientists who recommends us do this, to do it because they have facts and data to back it up. That's the fucking problem.
So, that was just a little bit of a clip. It's 3 minutes long, I think, something like that. The actual show itself was 4 hours and 19 minutes running time, and at least half of that was Bull and I going back and forth. Now, I've listened to the argument like 4 times, trying to see where the disconnect was, and I see Bull's argument. Bull, in my opinion, like I said, Bull's not here to retort or correct me. So if I get it wrong, I apologize, and he'll have the position, or he'll have the opportunity to correct what I'm laying as his position at a later time, or on a Bull's Thoughts, or on our next show, Bull and the Bartender, whenever he wants to do it. But Bull is saying he is only in control of himself and his own, and that's all that he's worried about. Which I get it. That we can only worry about what we can control. We can't control everything else. So we hold 2 different positions. Bull is at the moment just worried about his safety and the safety of his family, and that's all he can worry about. He can't worry about factors X, Y, and Z because of whatever reasons Bull has, which I understand. I totally get. My position is, well, at the time, since a judge ruled that the mask mandates are legal, and his executive order was unconstitutional to ban mask mandates, is yes, we can only control what we can control, but since DeSantis took that option away at the time, since there's now a mask mandate in Hillsborough County schools, I think they did 30 days to see what would happen in defiance of DeSantis, that we have to depend on other people for the safety of our own, because the mask protects other people. You get protection from it. It's not 100% effective, but if you're wearing a mask, you're less likely, if you happen to be asymptomatic and infected, either by being unvaccinated asymptomatic or even vaccinated unsymptomatic, it's a less chance of spreading via the air, the droplets, the air droplets that come out of your mouth if you wear a mask. So if everyone's wearing a mask, that percentage of not getting affected goes up, and DeSantis's executive order was putting the kibosh on that, and it wasn't given the school boards options. Now, in the judge's ruling, he stated that the school boards are within their rights to do that, because we do other things that we have rights to do. Like the judge specifically said, we have the right to drink. And we have the right to drink alcohol. We have the right to get drunk if we want. But we have laws in place for safety of other people, that you can't drink and drive. So the same thing that happened, the same concept applies for the mask mandates in schools. So, you have the right to not wear a mask, but you don't have the right to jeopardize someone else's well-being, which has been my argument, that people are going to do whatever they want to do and not realize their actions can affect other people in a negative way. So that was my whole argument about the DeSantis and his mask mandate executive order, the banning of it. And I think Bull and I were just talking past each other, and we're both guilty of it. We were actually listening to respond. I don't think we were listening to actually hear what the other person's position was. And that's not a good way to have a dialogue. So I apologize to Bull here on air. I'm sure we'll get into more arguments, and stuff gets emotional and stuff like that. But we need to do a better job, even as a whole society of people, of listening to someone's arguments to listen and hear what they're saying and hear what the argument is instead of just hearing to respond. So if I'm correct, Bull's position is he can only worry about his family and himself and doing whatever he can to keep them safe, which is commendable and 100% respectable. My argument is yes, while that you have to do that, that's 100% accurate. We have to worry about what other people are doing because their negative actions can cause consequences for the ones that we love and for ourselves. So that's where I think the disconnect was on that. So I'm sure, once again, Bull can respond to it and correct me if I'm wrong on his position, but I think that is the position he was trying to take on that. It was a heated conversation. We went back and forth for a few days. We didn't even post it right away because we are like, it's a very heated topic. Do we want to do it? And then we ultimately decided, hey, we got some feedback from some people. It was a good conversation. Let's put it out there and let's get everyone's takes on it. And, we're going to get heated at times and we're going to get passionate about stuff and we're not going to agree on everything. Not everything is kumbaya in life. And people disagree. And, the last since 2015, 2016, whenever Mr. Trumpy Dump came into existence, we have seen that divide and we've seen that people aren't going to agree on everything for XYZ reasons. I will say some of the reasons aren't good. We're going to get into that in a little bit in my end of the show rant. But we got some clips here that we're going to play. We're going to play some video clips that highlight some of my reasonings for having the position which I have. During the pandemic, people's actions or inactions can negatively affect me and mine or you and yours. And we all need to approach this as a society, as a societal problem and find a resolution. Too many people are saying what they won't do. We need people to say what they will do. And, this first clip is a person, the first two clips actually, are people that, in my opinion, are the problem right now. This first one is from Facebook. This woman gives an absolutely insane speech at a local government meeting. She's being serious. I can't show you the video. This is only audio. I'll play the audio for you. She has a sign around her neck, talking about Fauci or some shit, about a fake virus or whatever. But these are the people that are dealing with it. These are the people that take, their kids to school that are sitting next to your kids at school or going to the grocery store or whatever. So you got to do whatever you can to keep yourself safe because there's people like this out here.
I'm from Overland Park, and I'm here for the children. There is zero evidence that COVID-19 exists in the world. PCR tests are recalled. This is a plandemic. Fake virus, bioweapon jab. Fake president. You will not experiment on my children. It's always been about the children. We know you're coming for the children. We will not comply. We will answer to God. People are waking up. Nothing can stop what is coming. You vote yes, you will all be tried for crimes against humanity. Children don't disappear. 800,000 children in the United States disappear. Where do they go? Human trafficking is the real pandemic. The mainstream media doesn't cover it. There's no virus. The media is the virus. The politicians, Hollywood, are all involved. Please vote no today. I'm begging you. I want you to think real hard about these children. Trump won.
So this is the mentality that we are dealing with right now. So, this is a woman that could be dropping off her kid right after I drop off my kid at Carline and is instilling these same kind of values into their kid. And she didn't make one cohesive point. She was just talking points. She provided no evidence for anything. Yes, I get that human trafficking is bad and child trafficking is a horrible thing. But we do have, task force that are combating that. And, just to pivot from the pandemic that we're having on into that, saying, they're both problems. One is not a problem and the other one's not a problem. They're both issues. But, to sit there and say the virus is fake or, a bit back to the old QAnon, big lie, Trump won crap. This is the mentality of people that we're dealing with, and this is why I'm so passionate about these topics and why I got real heated with Bull. Because you have to worry about what DeSantis orders and what other people do because we're dealing with people like that. Another example, is if you heard in the clip that I sat there and said you can do whatever you can, but Johnny Chucklefuck is gonna be a fucking idiot and send their kid to school not wearing a mask and is gonna be infected or gonna be sick. And we have an example here in Nevada, I believe, where someone sent their kid to school knowingly infected with COVID-19.
People were exposed to COVID-19 at a Nevada middle school. Our ABC affiliate in Reno right now is reporting that a parent knowingly sent their child into the classroom with COVID-19. The parent reportedly tested positive for the virus and knew their child had COVID 2 days before dropping them off for the first day of school. As a result, a number of students at Marcy Hurst Middle School in Reno are now being forced to quarantine at home. Washoe County health officials told families if the child is not vaccinated, they need to quarantine for at least 8 days.
Our disease investigators are getting hung up on. They'll answer the phone and say, "I'm not getting a vaccine." There's instances where there's just some pent-up emotion and views on COVID-19 that are directed at our staff, and it's unfair. We're doing our jobs. We're trying to decrease the amount of transmission of COVID-19 in the community.
The school district won't say exactly how many children are affected by this, but did indicate the children will be able to continue their studies from home.
So that right there shows an example. Apologies. Shows an example of part of my argument that people are selfish and they're gonna do selfish shit, and you can do whatever you can to keep yourself safe, but in a situation like this, when you have selfish people doing selfish things, their negative actions can cause negative consequences on you, and more importantly, on your children, and more importantly, on the children that are K through 5 in elementary schools that have no choice in vaccination right now for that extra layer of protection. Now, I know some arguments is you can still get COVID and still get infected once you're vaccinated. Yes. The vaccine, I believe, after a few months, has an efficacy rate after 2 doses of 60 to 80%. I don't have it off the top of my head. I'm sorry. But think of it this way. So you have let's say it's 60%. So instead of having a 100% chance of getting the virus, if you're around someone that's infected, now it drops down to 40%. Because it's 60% effective. I will take those odds, and you should take those odds too. And then that's again after a few months. Once you have it, the efficacy I believe is like 87 to 90%. So you have only a 10% chance 2 weeks after your second dose. As it keeps going more in the months, the efficacy goes down. That's why they're requiring for Pfizer at least the booster shots 8 months after your second dose, which I will be getting. My employer, everyone to get if you're able to. I know there's certain people with certain medical conditions or certain reasons that you're not able to. But if you are able to, I implore you to please go ahead and do that. That's why I'm so passionate about this. My sons, both in school, can do whatever they can to keep themselves safe, but it just takes that one selfish person to ruin their life and, cause heartache, potentially. I won't be fear-mongering and say 100% of the time, but, I want it to be as close to 0 as possible, percent chance of that. That's a utopian goal. That's not something that definitely is going to happen. But it's something that we need to be, in my opinion, need to be mindful of, and people need to be mindful of. That clip shows the importance of the need of the local governments to do certain public health safety measures that we just have to do. We have a bunch of untrustworthy, selfish people that do not care or have any empathy for others. I don't have the exact data, but I looked at it before I started setting up for the show. Before they put the mask mandate in Hillsborough County, we had, I believe, 6% of the entire student population either in quarantine or having a case of COVID. Since they implemented the mask mandate, it's been cut in half. I think I checked it a couple hours ago. It was 2.94% for Hillsborough County. So masks are working and they are being effective. Again, masks aren't 100%. But we're seeing an impact. It cut the percentage of people that are either have a case of COVID or have or been affected by it and have to quarantine by half the percentage. We went from 6 to, I believe it was 2.94%, and we had 12,000 kids that were in quarantine and whatnot, and it's way down now. I think it was like 6,000 or it was 5,000, something like that. But the masks are having an effect. It is a tool. It's not the answer. It's part of the answer. I know at schools, especially my son's school, it's hard to do distancing. Distancing's another part of the answer, and we need to figure that out. School boards need to figure that out as well, to keep our kids safe, especially like during lunchtime or recess or whatnot. A personal story: my son, my youngest, who's not vaccinated, he just had upper respiratory infection, and he was coughing his brains out. We did COVID test. He came back negative, fortunately. But, what the hell he went through for almost a week with the coughing and not being able to sleep and the pulled muscles from the coughing and the retching. That was just a regular upper respiratory infection. And he eats well. He has a good diet. He takes his vitamins every day. He gets his probiotics. Whatever is needed for your immune system to fight, we make sure it gets done for him, and he still had a hard time with a regular upper respiratory infection that was not COVID. I hate to see what COVID would do, and my heart goes out to these parents and to individuals that have had COVID and have had rough times with it. Now you're going to have some people that don't have rough times, which you're lucky, you're fortunate, but there's some people that lose their life, and there's some people that have long-term COVID, or someone for that 3-day to 1-week span is miserable, and we don't want anyone to be miserable, especially a child. That's what I'm going to say about that. And I got to thinking, what else can vaccinated people do to do the right thing? It hit me: get on the level of the unvaccinated. So you're going to ask me, what do you mean by that? What do you mean get on the level of the unvaccinated? Well, I found this little clip that made me chuckle out loud on TikTok while I was in Facebook jail, and this is what I mean. If it works. It's loading.
Anti-vaxxers, I want you to add this to your list of conspiracy theories because it's 100% true. My friend's dog told me. So, as somebody who is vaccinated, I became aware of the threat I pose to those who are unvaccinated. Here are the risks that I, as a vaccinated person, pose to you unvaccinated people. If you stand too close to me, you will shit blood. If you breathe the same air as me, you become gay. If I sneeze on you, Jesus stops loving you. If you come into contact with the surface I have touched, you get pronouns. There's also the chance that you can get Delta and die, but I know that's at the bottom of your concern. Do you want to know how to protect yourself from this? Get vaccinated, or stay the fuck away from me, or I'll fart on you and you'll become a socialist.
So, that is a TikToker. I'll give some props and shout outs. It's at Maisie Linny, MaisielyNnie. I just thought it was a little humorous and getting on the unvaccinated person's level. We're going to go for further. Moral of that story: just get vaccinated and mask up. I don't like wearing the mask. No one likes wearing the mask. It's hot. We live in Florida. It's humid. Just do it for now. Until we get this thing under control. And just look out for other people. Have empathy for other people. And, think of the greater good. I know a lot of people are worried about me, and mine, but you just got to think about the greater good. Before I move on, I just want to sit there and say you're listening to Gut Check Live. This is Belly, pre-recorded. We're on Bulls Radio Lounge. Go ahead and visit Bulls Radio Lounge on YouTube.com. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Hit the bell for notifications for when we go live or when we get something uploaded So you can take a listen and give us your feedback. We'd love your feedback. I'm open to the feedback. I know there's certain people that do not like what I have to say, and we get the thumbs down, we get thumbs up. I get emails saying, they like me. I get emails saying they hate me. It's all good. You're allowed to hate or like. I'm not going to block you if you don't like me or whatnot. Do what you got to do. I also want to let everyone know about our lineup, the longest running show on Bull's Radio Lounge, the Bull and the Bartender Show, always on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. If Mark's not available, Bull either gets Mr. Joel Winecoop, sometimes Matt the Savior jumps on there, sometimes I jump on there, but Tuesdays at 8 p.m., we have the Bull and the Bartender Show. We have Grizzled Rants on Thursdays with myself and host the Authority Eddie Torres. Eddie Torres is a 14-year pro in professional wrestling, and he gives his, feedback on what he sees in the ins and outs of the business and the locker rooms, the stuff that he can't stand. We talk about the current product. It's a fun time. It's for a niche audience that might like professional wrestling or grew up with professional wrestling and wants to see a certain dynamic. We have a dynamic of a professional wrestler and Eddie, and I'm a fan. And we get to work together, and we see different perspectives. We see it from the pros' perspective, and we see it from the fans' perspective. Sundays, we at 8 p.m. we have Gut Check Live with myself, Belly, and Bull, and then we have a new time slot for the Social Reload show. That is Mondays at 9 p.m., I believe. I may have it wrong. I know it's Mondays. It's either 8 or 9 p.m. But if you hit the bell and you like and subscribe, you'll be notified anyway. So just go ahead and do that. But we're going to be moving on right now. We're going to move on to a story about the importance of the vaccinations and why we should get vaccinated. So we're going to hear the story of a Virginia man. His name is Travis Campbell. He recorded his battle with COVID-19 and his thoughts while he was battling COVID-19. So you can see the decline in Travis's condition with each video that he posts. And I believe the last one, especially if you have children, is going to hit you a little bit hard. And I just want you to listen to the video. Listen to Travis's story, and this is the story of a lot of people going on, as I'm talking right now. So, we got to think about other people especially now when we're doing our everyday tasks and activities and stuff like that.
We want to share a Virginia man's story of battling COVID. His decision to post videos documenting his COVID-19 treatment has slowly turned into a tragic confessional. Travis Campbell could die because he avoided the vaccine, and he says he truly regrets not getting the shot. He also blames himself for infecting his children, who are experiencing a rattling cough, dizziness, diarrhea, and dehydration. Travis chronicled his battle in a series of Facebook videos.
The cough is ungodly. It just is unbearable. It just makes you think you're going to just pass out, lose conscious. You're so dizzy, lightheaded and confused. I'd ask for prayers, but I'm kind of weird. I believe that path's already set. Came back out to the hospital, and they've admitted me. It's real. It's kind of confusing, like you're in a fog. I have a little bit of energy. My breathing has gotten tougher. So make sure if you're going to go at it and not get a vaccination, make sure you got a good doctor affairs in order. I have blood clots and coagulating crystal particles that have grown, and I have a portion of a collapsed lung. It's hard to find strength when you have so much stacked against you. But I've been listening to Alan Jackson's Precious Moments album. It's always been one of my favorites. So tonight and tomorrow, when you get a chance, if you listen to that album and see if it gives you the same peace.
I paused it for a second. If you're having a hard time hearing Travis, I apologize. He is in this video. Again, I can't show you video because this is all audio. Really struggling to breathe. His oxygen machine's going. He barely has his eyes open. You can tell how weak he is. I'm trying to turn up the volume a little bit to where it's not too loud on the recording because I can't hear it while it's being recorded. So I apologize if it's too loud or if you can't hear it.
It gives me, last night, my wife and I had to make a decision if I was going to allow them to put me on a ventilator. Worst case scenario. And I don't want to be on one, but I want to live. Breathe through the night.
So in this video, it might be hard for you to hear him on the recording. He has a full oxygen mask on, bunch of tubes. He has an oxygen mask on his face, and he also has one in his nose. So to give you that mental picture. And he has the oxygen bags fully inflated, so he's probably on a 100% oxygen full stop right now. So again, apologies if you can't hear him.
He's alone. Last night I come to the realization that the chances of me not being able to give my daughter away at a wedding is greater than walking out. I had to make a phone call to my 14-year-old son, and I had to tell him what I thought my dream was of giving my daughter away at the altar.
So if you didn't hear that, again, I apologize. What he is saying is that he came to the realization that in that particular moment, he may not be able to walk his daughter down the aisle because he was fearing death because of COVID-19. And he had a dream, and he called his 14-year-old son saying if something were to happen to him, he wants his son to walk her down the aisle and give her away.
And I had to ask for his permission. If I didn't come home, that he would give my daughter away on her day. I messed up big time, guys. I didn't get the vaccine. That's okay. I made a mistake. I admit it. And I'm taking my responsibilities now. So please, for the love of God, if you really want to have a chance, don't fall numb to all the TV, logic, and social media. Just protect yourself.
So what he was saying there, if you didn't hear, he was saying that he made a mistake. He should have got the vaccine. He admits his mistake, and that he wants people to not fall for the TV rhetoric and everything on social media. Protect yourself and to get vaccinated. Just let it sink in. We have tools available for the prevention of the virus. We have masks, social distancing, washing your hands. You should be already washing your hands. You were taught that when you were 2 years old. We have the vaccine. He didn't take advantage, and he was audibly worried about being able to walk his daughter down the aisle for her wedding when she grows up. And that's, we shouldn't have to think that, man. We should be living our life and be like, I'm gonna walk my daughter down the aisle. And this was preventable. We got to utilize all the tools that we have, man, to make sure that we're safe and we're there for our kids. And, I want to do whatever I can to make sure Travis can walk his daughter down the aisle. So that's why I wear my mask. So I can protect Travis and I can protect his daughter. That's why I got vaccinated, so I can protect myself, my family, and Travis's family as well. And a lot of people need to realize that. And I'm sorry if you hear thunder in the background. Living in Florida, the afternoon thunderstorms happening. Just to give you an update on Travis, I last checked on it on August 11th. So it's been almost a month. He was going home, and he was speaking about being able to go home. He unleashed an emotional response. He just let that sink in. He may have ongoing issues too. He was told that he may have what they call long COVID. He may have ongoing issues due to his battle with COVID. He's still currently on oxygen as of August 11th. I haven't checked back in on that. And there's a chance that he'll need oxygen for the rest of his life. Just think about that. You go in perfectly fine, and now, at his late 30s or early 40s, doesn't say exactly how old he is, he might have to be on oxygen the rest of his life now. Travis did state that COVID, and I quote, is not just a bug, but a long-time life disruptor. And it's all preventable as much as possible by utilizing the tools that we have, and that's mask, vaccine, social distancing, wiping down our surfaces, especially in high volume areas like the kitchen, bathroom, doorknobs, all that stuff. And I do want to say, on behalf of Bull, here at Gut Check Live and Bull's Radio Lounge, we want to extend Travis our best and hope that he continues to improve every day. Hopefully he gets to come off of those oxygen tanks, and hopefully, knock on wood, he is able to walk his daughter down the aisle for her big day. That's what I hope for. That's what I hope for any father who has a daughter, is to be able to do that and be around to do that. It's very, very important. Speaking of the vaccine, we got a lot of people. Bull and I, back to the argument that Bull and I had, we were talking about mandatory vaccines for schools. And Bull didn't want to get the vaccine, but he got it to protect his and himself and his family, which is commendable. But he did make the argument that, not everyone gets the vaccines that are needed for schools. So that talking point that Bull made, I wanted to research that a little bit. So what I did is I went to the CDC website. I know there's certain people that are listening that don't believe the CDC, even though it's been around since like the 40s and it's been the gold standard for everything up until COVID, and all of a sudden now people distrust it. But they're pretty reliable, and they are the gold standard for medical research in the United States of America. So I looked at the vaccinations that are needed for Hillsborough County Public Schools. So I'm speaking to Hillsborough County Public Schools. It's probably the same for everywhere else, but I don't want to speak with 100% certainty on that because it may be a little bit different. So this is the vaccine and the percentage of the people vaccinated by age 2 and how effective the efficacy rate of the vaccine is, showing you that vaccines are not 100% effective, but they are a useful tool. So we have the DPT, That's diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis. There's 4 doses that are needed for that. 80.7 people by the age of 2 years old have those vaccines. And those vaccines are 90% effective. There's the polio vaccine, of course. We were ravaged by polio at one time. We developed a vaccine, and now we're not ravaged by polio. Wonder why. There's 3 doses for that one. By the age of 2, 92.6% of people have gotten those vaccines. Again, 90% efficacy. MMR, measles, mumps, and rubella. There's 1 dose. Sometimes there's 2, I believe. 90.8% of people by the age of 2 have that vaccine. And the efficacy rate for rubella, 97%. For measles, 97%. And for the mumps, it's 88%. I'm going to totally butcher this one. It is HIV, Haemophilus influenzae, type B. Okay, so I think it's the flu vaccine, but I don't speak Latin. So if you are a Latin speaker, please correct me on that one. 79.6% of people by the age of 2 have this vaccine, and it's 95% effective. Hepatitis B, 3 doses of this vaccine. 90.6% of people by the age of 2 have this vaccine. 98% efficacy. Chickenpox, I remember having chickenpox in 7th grade. You don't see too much about chickenpox anymore. We have a vaccine for it. 90.2% of people by the age of 2 get the vaccine. 90% effective. Pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, PCF, 4 doses of this vaccine. 81% of the people have it, and it is 60 to 70% effective. So it's less effective than the COVID-19 vaccine, and more of a higher percentage of people have it by the age of 2. Come on, people. And then there's a combined 7 vaccine series. I believe it's all the above at one time. I could be totally wrong. I think 68.3% of people got the combined 7 series vaccine. So that shows us that vaccines work. They are a tool. They're not 100% effective. I just read off the mandatory vaccines for Hillsborough County. Not one of them is 100% effective, but we don't have outbreaks of these. And when we do get a case of mumps or measles or whatever, we put the kibosh on it real quick because most of the people are vaccinated against those disorders and those conditions. So now we're going to get into the end of this short broadcast. And I was thinking about the argument that Bull and I had, and the arguments I see online and with people in my personal life, and the arguments that just people make in general. And I thought to myself, I really want to break this down and break down these arguments and do a rant. And I know some people are going to get offended by it. And, I'm going to break down anti-vaxxers' arguments and all the things that they were saying about the vaccine. And I'm going to talk about specific sects of people right now. And then I'm going to actually wrap it up with some advice to my children. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to, before I start, I want to talk about Keel and Curly Winery. So if you're listening to my show, I know you've heard me mention Keel and Curly Winery before. Visit our friends at Keel and Curly. It's www.keelfarms.com. It's located at 5202 Thanonasassa Road in Plant City. Keel and Curly was created in the spring of 2003 in the kitchen of founder Joel Keel. Joe wanted to find something to do with his end-of-crop blueberries, so he decided on blueberry wine. An interesting concept. He started that in the spring of 2003 with 10 gallons of blueberry wine. From there, it turned it into the unique and charming flavors that Keel and Curly Winery is known for today. Visit the winery, eat at the restaurant, plan an event. They have live music there as well, weddings, a nice little setup that they got going on. We think it's safe to say that Keel Farms is the only place that's offering its own award-winning wines, craft beers, and savory food with a whole lot of Plant City history. And I live in Plant City, so I'll do everything I can to promote a small business that is located in Plant City. Keel and Curly Winery. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. That is info@keelandcurlywinery.com. Keel Farms, small beginnings, big impact. Just like the Boozy Pig, it's a local small business. It's not a paid advertisement. We just like showing love to our communities and our local small businesses. So, with that in mind, we're going to try to protect those in our small businesses and in our community. And we're going to talk about the people that are anti-vax and their reasonings. And I'm just going to go in on it. So, with the help of one of my favorite movies, Gangs in New York, the little battle march that they play, I'm going to have that in the background as I go into battle against the anti-vaxxers and the American patriots and those that hate Belly and hate what I stand for on the show and how I offend them with some of my talk. So let's get the end of the show going here. So, I know there are going to be some in the audience that will get offended by what I say during the next few minutes. I'm at a point where I'm tired of hearing what you say might offend someone, Belly, or you should respect people's opinions. Bullshit. I respect people. I don't have to respect your opinions or your beliefs. If you're offended, be offended. You have the right to be offended if you wish. Not all opinions are equal, and not all opinions should be heard. If you have what I perceive to be a dumb opinion, I'm going to say it. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm not going to be the radio host guy that doesn't want to offend anyone and play both sides of the fence. I don't do that. I don't respect people that do that. If you are passionate about something, say that shit. Cowardice isn't a place here on Gut Check Live, but I can only speak for Gut Check Live. You can think my opinion is shit. That's cool. You can think that my opinion is one that shouldn't be heard. That's perfectly fine. But be prepared to make the case when I ask you why. If your argument is flawed, be prepared for me to call you out. Be prepared to be mad. And you can be mad. Let us know if you need a cape so you can be super mad. You are probably thinking that Belly is just a know-it-all. I'm not. Not at all. If you listen to the other shows from the past on this channel, I admit my ignorance on topics if I'm ignorant to them. I have learned that people do not like to admit their ignorance on certain topics. And that's a big part of the problem with people. It's okay to be ignorant, everyone. Use it as an opportunity to learn. That is what I do. And that's what you should do too. If I find myself ignorant to a topic, I read up on it and research it. It's called bettering yourself. Some people need to learn to do the same. So on behalf of Bull, who's not here unfortunately, I'm going to say the following that leaves my mouth is my opinion alone and doesn't reflect the views of those on Bull's Radio Lounge. So here we are. It's now September 6th, 2021. We're almost 2 years into this pandemic, and my long-thought suspicions on people have been confirmed. People are selfish, moronic, and unreliable. The past 2 years have made me stronger in my convictions that people are dumb as shit, and I want you all to stay as far away from me as possible. I've been taught my whole life to not judge people. I'm going on record here and now. That was bad advice. I'm going to judge you. And let me tell you why I'm going to judge you. First up, to my anti-vaxxer friends and anti-maskers, you need to be disemboweled with a wooden cooking spoon. Let's go through my top 5 dumb shittery that leaves the hole in your face where a big penis should be inserted. You all need to be locked in overflowing portable toilets and roll down the hill while they are set on fire. Number 1. The government wants to track you with a chip. Ah, we've all heard that one before. Who the fuck do you think that you are that you think the government wants to track you? You aren't special. You're a nobody. Nobody knows if you're chicken feed or if you're chicken shit. They already have a way to track you anyway. It's the thing you're listening to me on right now. The thing I'm surprised you're smart enough to know how to use because it isn't a scratch and sniff picture book. You have to have some ego to believe the government cares that you go to your shitty job that you're not good at anyway, that you argue with your wife because she fucked a local bartender because her White Claw got her white girl wasted, and you secretly fucked your first cousin, and you blew your best friend in high school because it isn't gay if you close your eyes. You are not important, Todd. Shut the fuck up. Number 2, the vaccine is experimental and not FDA approved. Ah, this is one of my favorites. Well, it's approved now, so there goes that argument. Now the excuse is that you don't trust the FDA. Awesome. You're going to move the goalpost again. You don't want to get vaccinated because you think the vaccine's experimental. So, can you and the general public do our hospital system a favor if you catch COVID and need to go to the hospital? Don't go. That's right, you heard me. Don't go. You're only going to a place where they're going to inject you with therapies that aren't approved by the FDA and are experimental too. I don't want to see an IV in your arm. Don't want you to take up a bed, room, or ventilator. You better call the hospital and tell them to throw an oxygen tank in your car and let you be on your way. Don't even stop the car. Open the window and let them see if they can throw the tank through it. Make it a game. If they miss, you're fucked. You can't stop. Just go home and let natural selection do its thing. Oh, and while you're at it, I hope you plan to never use any of the following products. Number 1, infant formula. That's right, you better hope those chesticles don't dry up when feeding little Billy. Your nipples hurt too bad. Maybe your essential oils will help you out. Number 2, dietary supplements or vitamins. I'm talking to you gym bros who say Trump 2024 all the time. I know you don't want the vaccine while ingesting that pre-workout that's making your heart turn into a dried piece of shit. But hey, you're going to go get a mad pump so you can look good for the girl that you're going to have a one-night stand with. The same girl that's going to talk about your small dick to her friends the next day. But I understand you got to have those priorities, Connor. Number 3, cosmetics. Yes, Karen. That fake face you plaster on to go yell at the school board that wants you to protect your children is not FDA approved. But please don't stop using the cosmetics. If you look like a wildebeest with the makeup, I can only imagine the snaggletooth cock goblin you look like without it. And finally, alcohol. Yes, I said it, alcohol. The one thing celebrated by many after a long, hard day of dealing with your company that wants you to wear a mask and get a vaccine. You need that alcohol. Please guzzle that nectar that destroys your liver. As an FYI, you do know that 33% of the people in the United States has liver disease of some sort and don't even know it. Most of them not knowing because they don't have symptoms. But keep drinking that booze and having that Marlboro hanging from your crusty herpy lips while not getting the vaccinated because you don't want poison in your body. It makes sense, am I right? Reason number 3 why they don't want to get the vaccine. The vaccine has side effects. This one's funny to me. They don't want to take the vaccine because the vaccine can have side effects. Anaphylaxis has happened at a ratio of 11.1 per 1 million doses of the vaccine. The same people that say this also say the survivability rate of the virus is 99+%. Possible death of 0.8% versus needing epinephrine and Benadryl at 0.00111%. I hope you aren't helping your kids with that math homework. But I get it. Side effects of medication are bad and unpleasant. I mean, who would want nausea, stomach pain, loss of appetite, itching, rash, headache, dark urine, clay-colored stools, jaundice, swelling of the face, tongue, and throat, severe dizziness, trouble breathing, or liver failure? Am I right, you know? Oh, by the way, the side effects I gave were from Tylenol, you dumb shits. Reason number 4. This is all about control or tyranny. Ah, another good one. The people that give the buzzwords. Any rule or regulation they don't like falls into this category of tyranny, communism, Marxist, socialist. If you follow or advocate for the rule, you're called a sheep. We all know these people. They aren't original. These tactics can be traced back quite a way. Just close your eyes and picture this scenario. Because it's true, I did my research on it. You know that do your own research thing you guys like to say too? The year is 1885. Dr. Alexander Ross, who is an anti-vaxxer, led a disinformation campaign on a new vaccine. Same buzzwords, same rhetoric. He painted himself the hero, the only doctor who dared to doubt the fetish of vaccination. Oh, by the way, he was vaccinated while spewing this bullshit at the same time. Sound familiar, Republican politicians? Preaching anti-vax nonsense while being vaxxed? But back to the story. Close your eyes again. Dr. Ross used the same tactics being used now. Minimize the threat of the disease, say the vaccine causes illness and is ineffective, say vaccination's part of the larger conspiracy, and using alternate authorities to legitimize yourself. Sounds like that one friend that we all want to smash in the face with a cast iron skillet. We all have one. What vaccine was Dr. Ross attacking, are you asking? Smallpox. Yep, I said it, smallpox. You know the disease the vaccine helped eradicate? How many cases of smallpox are you hearing about right now? But I digress. So to the Chads and the Cynthias, you aren't original. People have been saying the same tired, old, stupid bullshit for over 130 years. Do us all a favor. Find a body of warm, fresh water. Maybe a lake or a pond. Jump in and snort the water up your nose. That way you can catch a brain-eating amoeba, and we only have to hear your dumbass for 10 more days before you disappear. Forever. Number 5. Insert dumb conspiracy theory of the moment here. This one's going to be short and sweet. Just shut the fuck up. That's it. That's the advice. Shut the fuck up. You have nothing to back up the dumb shit leaving your mouth. I get more substance listening to the sound of my own small intestine as it produces my shit. Moving on, next on the list, this is to quote, my American patriots. The American patriots. The type that drape themselves in the American flag. The ones that love the country so much that if you believe any idea that are outside of their own ideals, they invoke Nazi Germany. These American patriots that invoke the founding fathers for every dumb talking point they make. Maybe they should read history before invoking the founding fathers. George Washington mandated a vaccine. That smallpox one we just spoke about. Washington issued the order to have all troops inoculated on February 5th, 1777 in a letter to John Hancock, who was president of the Second Continental Congress. In another letter, Washington ordered all recruits arriving in Philadelphia to be inoculated. This is a quote, an exact quote from President Washington. Finding the smallpox to be spreading much and fearing that no precaution can prevent it from running through the country of our army, running through the whole of our army, I have determined that troops shall be inoculated, he wrote. This expedient may be attended with some inconveniences and some disadvantages, but yet I trust in its consequences will have the most happy effects. Necessity not only authorizes, but seems to require the measure. For should the disorder infect the army in a natural way and rage its virulence, we should have more to dread from it than from the sword of the enemy. See, you fake patriots, you're the problem. You have shown the enemies of the United States the blueprint to bring down the empire. Your mentality is the possible reckoning for our society. You have shown our enemies that all they have to do is develop the biological weapon and release it into society. A weapon that will slowly kill the empire while those in the empire fight amongst each other because we should respect everyone's opinion. Well, respect this opinion. You need to be beaten with a dildo. You say you would take a bullet for your country, but you won't take a vaccine or wear a mask for your neighbor. Your bullshit is the glue that keeps this bullshit country together. And finally, to my children, I got some advice for you. I've always been told to not judge people. That was bad advice. Please judge people. Not for how they look, or not for their skin color, or their sexual orientation. Nothing like that. Judge them by their worldview. Judge them by their morals. Judge them by their values. Learn about them, and judge them accordingly. Learn about a new friend as soon as you consider having them a friend. And I don't mean their hobbies, or favorite sports teams. Anything like that. But to actually learn about the person that you're dealing with. Don't just hang out because you think they're cool or they are someone you can have a drink with. Have conversations about their worldview. Have conversations about their values. I've had friends that I've known for a long time, and I found out they're not the person I thought they were, all in the last 2 years. I never learned about their worldviews or their ideologies. I just went with the flow. I didn't learn who they would be when the chips were down. I wasted a lot of myself on these people that couldn't give a shit about anyone but themselves. Have a circle of people around you that will truly have your back. When we're growing up, we're told to look up to the superhero of a story or a movie. We all need heroes, I get it. But pay attention to the villain as well. Listen to their motives or their way of thinking. There's always some truth to it. Listen and learn from that truth. I never thought I would tell my children this as advice, but you can learn a lot from humanity from the person some would consider to be the greatest villain of all time. Fictional. Everyone loves him. Everyone hates him. The Joker. And I have a small clip for you.
See, their morals, their code. It's a bad joke. Dropped at the first sign of trouble. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. See, I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve. See,
be ahead of the curve, my boys, for your sake and for society's sake. And I want to thank you for taking this hour and 10 minutes to listen to a guy like me. Again, apologies for any kind of technical issues or if you have any trouble hearing the audio. Working with prehistoric technology here. I don't have a board like Bull does. But I do want to thank you for taking time to listen to Gut Check Live, this pre-recorded Gut Check Live. Give us a like, a subscribe, hit the bell for notifications by all means, and, leave a comment. Shoot us an email, gutchecklive@gmail.com. Let us know what you think. If you disagree and you want to debate, or if you want to come on air just to air your grievances and call me a fucking idiot or whatever, by all means do it. I implore you to do that. For Bull, this is Belly. I will say that I appreciate all of you. I appreciate you taking time to listen. And please don't forget to check out Bull and the Bartender Show on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. We got the Social Reload Show with Matt the Savior and Bull. Now on Mondays, I believe at 9 p.m., we also have the Grizzled Rant Show with Eddie Torres and me, Belly. That's on Thursdays when Eddie is available. And on Sundays, we have Gut Check Live with myself, Belly, and Bull. We're going to bring you as much content as we can. Sometimes Bull does Bull's Thoughts, where he records whatever's on his mind. Sometimes I do it too on some breaking news. By all means, though, please continue to show your support, whether positive or negative. We appreciate either one. Hit the notification. Visit Bull's Radio Lounge on YouTube. Hit the bell. Hit the like. Hit the subscribe. And you'll know when we come live or when we upload anything. So for Belly, again, I want to thank you for taking time to listen. And we're going to have Fozzy and Chris Jericho sing you out. And this is Judas.